anybody ever told you in teaching you the Bible that the Old Testament is an allegory? It is. And that the New Testament is parables? It is. How do I know that? Because the Apostle Paul says, talking about the Old Testament, which things are an allegory. In other words, these are symbolic stories that use the names of real places and real people, but really symbolize a deep spiritual truth. They have nothing to do with the names and the places that they use. It's an allegory. And we're reading them literally. There have been people going up to Mount Ararat looking for Noah's Ark. Do you know that? Spend millions of dollars. It's a mythological story. There's an ark in every culture in the world from the beginning of time. I mean, you know, did you ever read the story? Let me tell you something. Did you ever read the story of Moses? Remember Moses' mother, when he was 3 months old, put him in a basket with pitch and floated him up the creek, and the Egyptian lady picked him up? Do you know that that story was duplicated hundreds, if not thousands of years before that by King Sargon of Babylon? When King Sargon was 3 months old, his mother put him in a little basket with pitch, floated him up the creek, and a lady picked him up. The same story. But now when they were teaching you about Moses going up the creek, why didn't they teach you about King Sargon going up the creek? When they taught you that Jesus Christ was born of a virgin, why didn't they teach you that Hare Krishna was born of a virgin? When they taught you that Jesus Christ, when he was born, there was a strange star that why didn't they tell you that when Hare Krishna was born, there was also a strange star? Why didn't they tell you that Zoroaster, the Iranian prophet, was the one who commissioned Cyrus to rebuild the Hebrew temple and sent the Magi to find Jesus? It's true. And then this guy, according to our Christian religion, is a pagan. Yet if it wasn't for him, there would be no temple, and Jesus, nobody would have found him. Nobody would have announced to the world he was the king, because it was Zoroaster, the Persian prophet, that made that possible. Why doesn't anybody tell you these things? Why didn't anybody tell you that Jesus Christ associated himself as the Egyptian sun god, calling himself Amen-Ra? Why didn't anybody ever tell you? Jesus did. In Revelation, he calls himself the Amen. Thus saith the Amen. The Amen in Egypt is the sun god. Well, say, well, I don't know if he's the sun god. Well, it says in Matthew that Mary and Joseph took the child Jesus to Egypt to fulfill the prophecy. Out of Egypt have I called my son. So then God's saying that his son was Amen-Ra, the Egyptian sun god, and Jesus fulfilled that prophecy, the light of the world. And we can go into all of that. Well, why are they afraid to talk about these things? And if you tell these things which are truths, these are historical facts that I'm telling you, you're called a cult. Well, stay away, don't listen to that stuff. That's where religion came from, out of the old Middle Ages. You know, the Middle Ages, you know, that's where the religion as we know it came from, the Middle Ages of Europe. And you know what they call it? History calls it the Dark Ages. You know why? People weren't allowed to think. And they still aren't in religion. You're not allowed to think. If you belong to a particular group, you've got to think the way they do. Oh, you know, don't go near them. I don't know of anything more disastrous than telling people, don't read this stuff. You should read everything. You should read about Krishna, about Buddha, about Zoroaster, about cult, about everything. It's what you don't know that hurts you.